Hey everybody, welcome. My name's Chris, and this is the Daily Reflections with Chris. Thank you for tuning in. Today is April the 4th, and let's get started. I will say this, that this particular reading, one of my, somebody at the meeting today was asking us to help her with it because she really couldn't understand it. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, I can barely understand it. But I kept reading it over and over and just, started thinking about what it's really talking about or what can I get out of this. And I think I might have come up with something. So let's get started. Today is April the 4th, and the title for this entry is called Crying for the Moon. This very real feeling of inferiority is magnified by his childish sensitivity, and it is this state of affairs which generates in him that insatiable, abnormal craving for self-approval and success in the eyes of the world. Still a child, he cries for the moon, and the moon, it seems, won't have him. That's from The Language of the Heart, page 102. While drinking, I seemed to vacillate between feeling totally invisible and believing I was the center of the universe. Searching for that elusive balance between the two has become a major part of my recovery. The moon I constantly cried for is, in sobriety rarely full. It shows me instead its many other phases, and there are lessons in them all. True learning has often followed an eclipse, a time of darkness. But with each cycle of my recovery, the light grows stronger and my vision is clearer. So crying for the moon really threw me off. Because I felt like it was a whole different topic, right? And reading it over and over and over, in this case, I think the moon is talking about the balance, right? The elusive balance between feeling totally invisible and then feeling like the center of the universe. So I go from one extreme to like feeling like nothing to feeling like I'm the shit, right? So I'm either, that very extremist kind of thinking. So finding the balance, which in this case it's calling the moon. Like, I just want to be balanced. I just want to be normal. I just want to not have everything just throw me off kilter, right? I just want to be able to deal with life like a normal person does. And that, in sense, is the moon. And then it goes on to refer, the moon, while isn't always full, you can always see the different phases of it, and in each phase another lesson. So that's like my in search of this balance comes these different phases, right? So situation comes up, totally pisses me off, right? Or I don't get what I want, or I feel like unheard, unloved, unseen. Or then I have these other situations where I really blow up my ego and I feel like, hey, you gotta listen to me, okay? Because I know everything. So finding the balance between those two brings about more lessons. Lessons of humility, lessons of ego deflation, lessons of learning, right? Lessons of survival. I guess I would say survival tools for getting by, right? Because I think, especially right now, talking about the 4-step, going into it, always being upset, always being mad at somebody, having really unsuccessful relationships, putting really high expectations on people, expecting them to make us feel better when it's not their responsibility. All that stuff puts a person like me in a weird spot emotionally and spiritually, and sometimes even physically, right? I can do harm to myself by overexerting myself, by twisting myself up into that pretzel we've been talking about, by trying to please people, by trying to look good, by trying to be chosen, and rejection and time constraint, right? Because I want everything now. I want it all yesterday. And some of this stuff takes time. For me, I've always thought, you know, one of my mottos in life has always been like, I don't mind starting at the bottom, because if I'm gonna be the custodian, and not that the custodian is the bottom, right? But if I'm gonna be in an entry level position, I'm gonna be the best at the entry level position. I'm gonna learn all that I can, so when I get to my next level, if I do, then I'll know something, and then I'll learn more and add it to what I know, and I'll just like build up a bunch of knowledge and a bunch of experience. I meet a lot of different people, and that's the journey I've been. But somewhere along the line, there's this wall where it just like it never goes any further than that, right? So finding the balance, finding the moon, it's that I cry out to. It feels impossible sometimes, and it makes me feel some sort of way. But if I could just maybe try to look at it the way these people look at it, like true learning has often followed an eclipse, a time of darkness. But with each cycle of my recovery, the light grows stronger, my vision is clearer. So sometimes there may be some darkness. I may be crying out for the moon. I see nothing but dark skies. There in my life, there has been many times of darkness. And what's come out of it? A clearer vision, a stronger understanding, a more humble self, a more empathetic self, a more enlightened self, a more stronger self, right? That if I were to go through this again, I would know, you know, one, either what to do, or two, who to rely upon through the whole thing. Through my whole life, I should be relying on a higher power. But when it's darkest, man, I forget. They say, I've heard people say, oh yeah, we forget when things are going good. Yeah, I can see that. But I can also forget when things are going horrible, because I just get blocked off. I get completely blocked off with worry, with fear, with anger, resentment, inferiority. I might have not said it right, but some words are still hard for me to say. Not feeling like enough or good enough or loved or seen or heard. All those things, I mean, they just put me in a dark spot. And sometimes I know it and sometimes I don't know it. And when I don't know it, it takes me longer. It takes me longer to see it, longer to realize, longer to get honest about it, and longer to get to the light. And that's okay. It's just gonna be that way sometimes, right? But it does, as long as I don't drink tonight and keep seeking out the solution, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna overcome this, not alone, with the higher power, but I'm gonna overcome this, right? And some of the stuff is easier. It's the process. It's the process that some stuff is gonna be a lot easier for me to handle. It's part of the 9-step promises. But some stuff is still gonna shake me off. It's still gonna shake me. It's still gonna make me feel a certain way. So if I can, for my better, right? For my journey, if I can get to a spot where I can look at this as learning experiences and not rejection, if I can get to a spot where I can see this as an opportunity, not just as something that I'm never gonna have, right? Because sometimes I do get weary. I've been working on this, I'm praying for it, I keep trying everything that I know, and still here I am in the same spot. So I grew worried. I started thinking, well, man, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. Maybe let me just go find something else to do. Maybe just try hollering at somebody else. Let me go try to figure something else out. And sometimes it's not about that. It could be about timing. I've been learning a lot about timing lately. And it's strange. It's interesting, should I say, how everything could be already on the, I could be on the right path. Everything is moving perfectly. No bumps in the road. I'm thinking, this is it. This must be God will. And then something happens that's totally out of everybody's control. And now there's just like this roadblock. No matter how much people want to take me there, they can't. No matter how much I'm fit for that position, now the position's gone. Twice already. First, at this other job, totally blew my mind. Totally blew my mind. Totally, sorry, my dogs. Totally blew my, I might have to go close those blinds. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they'll hush up. Maybe they might be just yelling at their own reflection. But who knows? So okay. I think they're done. Where was I? So I show up to this interview, right? I talk to my boss. My boss is like, look, there's a position open at this job I was at, right? They're like, look, this position is open and I would really like to hire you for this position. He's like, would you like to interview with us? I think you'd be great. It's like, okay. So I go in there and I interview with them and they pick some of the really hardest questions that I felt like, okay, these questions are like for a position above the position that I want. So I'm just gonna try my best and hope the best is gonna come out of this. You know, I was prayed a lot. I was prayed up. I felt prepared, and the questions were the same ones. And you know, I had a few You've been in the workforce long enough, you're going to have a lot of examples about safety. You're going to have a lot of examples about not getting along with your coworkers. You're going to have a lot examples of resolution and confrontation and customer service and how you make people feel and what the company means to you and where you want to be in 5 years. You know, you answer that question enough, you feel a little bit like, okay, I can answer these questions, and every time I can come up with a different example, right? So I answered this question and I had an example, a good example. I thought it was a great example about conflict resolution in the in the work area. And then my boss shows up and says, Chris, the answer was this. And I was like, I didn't understand what they're saying. I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we were looking for you in this question. We were looking for this answer. And I was like, I understand, but there's plenty of answers to that question. I mean, there's plenty of conflict resolution in my work that I could talk about. And I think that the example that I gave you was a good example, because it's a really, I mean, me and that person, we're good, we're stronger than we've ever been. And we help each other and we motivate each other. I mean, like, we're buddies. This is good. We're each other's champion. We resolve, I mean, the resolution was there. I don't understand. And they said, well, this is the answer we wanted. And I was like, wow, that blew me, that just like, it caught me by surprise. And then they went on to say, and we're going to exercise our right to be autonomous, and we're closing the position. I was like, what? They said, we're closing the position, Chris, so we're not going to hire you. I was like, man, that had never, ever happened to me before. Well, there's a lot of times I didn't get the job, but for them to close the position and tell me that I didn't answer it correctly, that they were looking for a specific answer, man, that almost set me off, man. That made me laugh. I laughed in there. I was like, man, I cannot believe this. And they're like, what do you have to say? And I was like, I don't have anything to say. I've never been through this. I've never heard of this. I don't have anything to say. I think I should just not say nothing, because I'll probably get myself into trouble, because I wanted to go off on them. And I said, I don't want to say anything. They're like, Chris, we're so sorry. I'm like, I go, you had a choice to hire me, and you made your choice. That's fine. I accept it. And now I'm in a slightly different predicament, but somewhat the same. Has nothing to do with my boss. Has nothing to do with an interview. It's just the way stuff happens sometimes. It just happens. And I could go on. I have another good example of how stuff just happens. But I don't want to go there, but I believe they're just lessons to be learned. And in times like this, when there's an eclipse going where nothing makes sense to me, I'm like, man, I'm in this spot again. I have a choice again, and sometimes other people, they have the right to make choices too, and the choices they make, they don't always line up with my life. And I just think about, like, okay, a lesson's got to be learned here, and it's not about their lesson, it's my lesson. It's not about what they should have done to make this easier on me, so that I could finally be with the person I want to be with, so that I can finally have the job I want to have. It's not up to them. This is personal. This is between me and my higher power. And I just keep saying, God, help me what it is that I need to learn, because I want to learn what it is, what I need to learn, so I want to move forward. I want to get to the next level. And that might not, maybe there might be more things I need to learn. I don't know. But I feel like I'm on this 40-year journey that should have took me like 10 days. Like, some of you know that story, right? From the BIBLE. I'm probably not even quoting it right, but I felt like I should be there already. Maybe it's because of social status. Maybe it's because that's what I was taught as a kid. Maybe because the whole world around me is getting married and promoted and making more money, and I'm not. I don't know. There's something there, but I'm willing to learn today. And I have to make hard decisions. I do. Because there's some stuff that I've learned that I just don't want to do anymore. And someday I'll tell you what that is. But there's some stuff that I just don't want to do. I don't want to act a fool at my work. I don't want to be mad at my boss. I don't want to act like a kid, like a childish person. I don't want to be insensitive. I want to be the man that I've always wanted to be. I want to be grown. I want to be able to take rejection like the next person. I want to be able to love somebody unconditionally, getting to know them and see where we stand in a few months. I mean, like, those are the things that I want, but I have never been open to even doing that, right? Because I was still crying out for the moon, crying out for this balance, crying for what I want, not knowing, not understanding, not being willing to see that it's a process. I gotta learn some stuff. I gotta be willing to do certain things. I gotta be open-minded about the world around me, that it's not just the way I see it. Because to co-create means that my visions are coming into, you know, are becoming part of other people's visions, right? So they may, you know, it's just such a process and such a journey. And it's really hard for me to describe it all in one video, I think, because it's a lot. It's a lot to describe. But man, this was a hard one to talk about. Crying for the moon, because I'm still not even sure, 100% sure what it's talking about. But what I get from it is that, you know, I'm still looking for the balance. I'm on board with that. I'm still crying out for the moon. I'm on board with that. But stuff's clearer. It just is. It's not where it was a year ago. It's just, I'm just learning. And maybe you're just learning too. Maybe you haven't even tried doing this. Maybe this feels hard, like it feels hard for me right now to be able to talk about this. That's okay. Tomorrow we'll have a whole different topic to talk about. And hopefully when we wake up tomorrow, we'll be clearer. We'll have, something will change, something will shift, something will be different. I know my life is good right now. I could complain, but I have nothing to complain about. There's some major changes coming. And I don't know that I'm quite ready for them, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, I love to be that person to be like, what? Oh man, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's see what you got. But lately I've been saying that. It's like, oh my God, it's too much. So I'm scared to say it, but I'm going to say it. Okay, we'll bring it on. Let's see what this is about. So much I want to say, but I can't. I will say it at some point. I need permission first, though. So as soon as I get permission to say what I want to say, then I'm going to say it. But everything's good. Life is good. Relationships are good. I've been really staying in my lane. I've been not trying to, be telling people what to do, just embracing who they are. I'm really giving myself a lot of compassion and giving them compassion and being human with myself and being human with them and just being Chris 100%. And I love that. I love that I can be 100% Chris today. And it's not like when I first got here, I was like, well, take it or leave it. My way or the highway. No, I'm not like that. Because that's not who I really wanted to be. But the Chris today is like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. And being able to look at stuff and see where I could bring a little bit more or where I should back off. I mean, I can't even really describe what I'm doing, what I'm even talking about, man. I'm so like just on a pink cloud about my humanness. And I don't know. I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'm probably just speaking a lot of gibberish, but it's late, and I just want to say thank you. And if you feel stuck, man, just give yourself a shot. I mean, not like a liquor shot. Give yourself an opportunity to slowly get unstuck. Take the next step, even if you're scared. Take a chance on something you haven't taken a chance on. Follow your dreams. Start the business you've always been wanting to start. Start drawing if that's what you want. Okay. Let me go get this bone away from my dogs, or they're never gonna stop barking. But maybe they did. Maybe they gave me a little break. So just if you're able to, man, just tell yourself you love yourself. Call somebody you haven't called in a while. Send somebody a nice text. If you're stuck, that's fine, but get unstuck, man. Nobody wants to be stuck. Come on. There's so many things you can do to get yourself unstuck. My pastor says, You know, move your leg, even if you gotta lift it yourself. Yeah. Even if you gotta give yourself a compliment, let's go. Start loving yourself. Even if you gotta buy your own self dinner, treat yourself. Even if you gotta pick out your own car, go get it. We're not alone, even when we're by ourselves. And I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that. Folks, thank you for your time. My dogs are getting very noisy over there. They're fighting over a bone, so I'm gonna go get it away from them. But thank you for your time. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Okay? Bye, folks. Good night.